Right now, what we have in there right now is completely unacceptable. It's unacceptable, especially for the seniors, because they're the ones that have to deal with it every day. And I have to hear stories on the street about a senior getting left, or seniors getting cursed out, or things to that nature, which should not be happening to anyone's parent. With that said, we do have people in order. That's what I was saying, in place rather. But then, here comes a whim. We get a letter from our attorney today, and now we have to find out who actually owns this property. So, yeah, this has been such an uphill battle. Such an uphill battle, because people want to sell it, but it wouldn't make a drop in the bucket with our debt. It would absolutely do nothing when it comes to our debt. So that whammy came today. So we still are moving and processing everything, every application, everything that's been filed. We just have to figure out who owns it. Yet again, old administrations, and I cannot say the name because some people know this person, and they may try and approach him, because one of these people they've done a lot of unjust things to this community. And going back and forth with this property is one of them. We will not stop going forward. We will proceed with caution. I got everybody a packet of this, and I was starting to take these apart to take the LLC off, but I don't think I will. So you can see the direction we're going in. Because when you have a good team, you have a good team, and you have to make things work. And we're making things work. I gotta get you all the last sheets. I see they did not copy. So we were moving in the direction of corporation, which we will continue to do. Because, like I said, it's an uphill battle, constantly. It's an uphill battle. So, with that said, we will be having a special meeting. I did speak with our attorney about this, and our attorney feels it is the best move for us. We have to find out the particulars about what's going back and forth with this property, because that just came, like I said, today. And I got about 3, 4, 5 attachments to the email. So, I'm sorry, I'm multitasking. That's what I do every day.
Trustee Smith,
Yes.
doing your multitasking. I'd like to
I don't even know the sheets are going
I'd like to reflect on the document that you just gave to all of us in regards to what I think is who you want to present to run the Dorchester.
Yes.
Okay. And it looks like the corporation of the person that you want to run the Dorchester just filed April 15th
Yes.
to form an LLC group
Yes.
to in fact run the Dorchester.
Yes.
So they specifically filed to form this LLC 7 days ago
Yes.
to run our facility.
Why?
I didn't say why.
Oh, but I was gonna tell you why.
And according to the profile here of the principal, they don't even reach the qualifications in regards to what Mr. Smallwood said they have to meet to run a SLIP.
And that's why I said to run a SLIP is not, you have to have a manager or a qualified designee present at the SLIP during normal business hours plus whenever necessary to ensure attention to the management. That person would be Catalina Bell, who is a nurse for over 30 years, who works with seniors, who used to get the Dorchester prepared for their inspections. So we would have the person who knows how to do it most definitely, working part-time for us, because we already have an LPN there. So you have a director, and she delegates, or he would delegate, and
When you
have
say
your
we,
LPN.
when you say we, are you speaking for this whole body here, council? Are you speaking for the whole body?
No, I'm not speaking for the whole body, I'm speaking for the people who've been working on this.
When you say,
And I'm one of the people who was working on this.
but when you present this and say we, have Ms. Kathleen Bell that's coming into it, and we have this corporation that was just formed 7 days ago to run the Dorchester, who's we?
That was me. How about that? That was
Okay,
me.
let's say me, then, for the record, me, identifying Trustee Smith. Okay.
I have a question, kind of, is there a contract or?
No, there is nothing yet, because, boom, we have to stop again.
So, I mean, I guess,
Because we had, no, it did get started, thanks, though.
so you're trying to do this, I'm sorry, so we don't have any contract, and it's gonna expire in 90 days, so we're tempted to keep, the current management
Yeah,
well
we,
over a couple of
after
months.
speaking with, no, not after a couple of months, no. I had to speak with our attorney, and our attorney feels that at this time, because of what we received today, that it would be best to keep them in there for like another month. That's what I said, I don't wanna keep them in there for another month. But with us going back and forth and all of these surprises, they would have to be there for another month.
So that's, so we're gonna keep them for at least another month. They wanna be working on a contract for presented.
Yeah,
What's wrong with the, what paperwork you got here? They're not qualified to
everyone is,
anything?
everyone is. If you go through, Karen guys, we got her information. Catalina Bell. Catalina Bell, was the nurse. Tanisha Banner, I have not met her, but she would be the person that takes care of, nothing to do with, well, yes. She's a coordinator.
Okay, so everybody in this package, you saying is qualified to run the Dorchester as far as management?
Yes.
Okay, so
The
why
last
would
person is not even Kimberly Townsend, she's not even going to be on the payroll. She's an accountant that's just helping her do stuff pro bono.
Okay, so why would we consider keeping, LLC, Angelique?
You don't have a license yet.
No, I'm asking, why would
We
consider
don't,
that?
I guess, because we don't even have a contract.
We don't have
any
a
agreement. We
contract,
just
but then
can't
when I
have
talked to
them
Jimmy
in.
today, I'm sorry, push.
I mean, we just,
Right, I understand that, I know we don't have a contract, but that's why we discussing it, I thought it was up for discussion, I just wanna know what's the options, that's all. So you saying
Option
our
right
option
now is to,
A, this, B, them, and no other option after that, them the only two options you stated?
right now, that's what I was told. Me and Jimmy had a discussion today and listening to my attorney.
Okay, I was trying to be clear of what our options were, because I'm not in favor of Angelique, which I think everybody up here knows that.
Yeah,
Is there any representatives here from GEG Service?
no, they didn't.
Who?
They didn't even know.
No, they weren't, no, I'm sorry, no, they weren't.
Any more discussion on this? Okay,
So
Yes, ma'am.
the persons that were supposed to show up tonight,
Oh, I didn't say they were supposed to show up tonight.
you said somebody was supposed to be.
Where? Not live.
Thought they would be.
No. No.
So when were we supposed to get this information is what I don't understand. I don't know anything about this young lady here, Karen, we heard about,
Mm-hmm.
but Townsend or somebody named Bell, I haven't heard about until tonight. So and they don't have an LLC license with the state of Illinois. So how could they
They
run,
don't need a.
they have to have a license to be,
If I'm getting this right, trustee Bendel, trustee Bendel is saying that, according to these documents here, this limited liability, articles of corporation, article for organization, GEG services will be the, sort of the umbrella for the hiring of employees. Is, Kathleen, is her name, to operate the Dorchester? GEG services, are you saying one will be in place to try to take from LLC?
Yes.
Get the trustee Bendel?
okay, but I don't see any amounts or any,
We're not in this.
Well, we don't have a
No,
contract.
It's not in this stage yet.
Not
We don't
yet.
have a contract. The thing that scares the hell out of me is,
we only got a few weeks
this is
to
people
go.
who live there, these are seniors. And we're pissing around with this, excuse my French, but we're sitting here with the possibility of losing the license.
Not losing the
Yeah,
license.
no,
Have we
we-
not been going back and forth with this for months at a time?
Right, and now
We
we're up
could've been
against the
working-
wire. We are up against the
Hey,
wire.
you know what?
That's half the problem. These decisions should have been made a long time ago, and they have not. And this board's gonna sit here, we're gonna sit here, and we're gonna run up against that deadline date, and the state's gonna come in here and take these people and put them somewhere. We don't have what do we got left? 8 days, 10 days,
I'm confused.
the end of the month?
We got 9 days.
This is the board, I mean, we haven't been able to make a decision, and now you're telling me we're gonna make a decision, from now to
We made a
then,
decision
as to what to
coming
do with
through
the
the
senior.
door to sell it, and then sell it, sell it. We need the money, and then we find out that our debt is way surpasses anything, any monies that we could have gotten for this. Okay, we've been going back and forth with this, because I didn't want to sell it. I felt it's a great piece of property. You can't tell me that something that made money can stop making money when people are stealing from it, and then it can't make money anymore. That's
You
the
have to
same thing
watch
I've
what
been
you
saying.
say in regards to putting yourself in a liability state when you talk about people stealing stuff, because unless you can prove that, then you should not say that.
But not only that,
Okay, just the rest of
to me, that don't have anything to do with it.
It has
It's
everything
the
to
fact
do
that
with
we're up against a deadline, we can't talk about what things that happened in the past. I don't care what happened in the past, these seniors
these seniors.
They're
the
are
ones
gonna
that
be
just-
sitting there on May 1st.
With
and the
Angelique
state's
and
gonna come
Tom.
in.
No, they will
Well-
not. They'll be there with Angelique and Tom,
I don't know.
unfortunately, because we've
Because
been
we
going
don't
back
seem to
and
be able to
forth.
make a decision.
Oh, I made a decision.
I said, we.
You
I
are,
know
we've
you
been
made
going
one.
back and forth with
I
this.
know you made one, but the rest of us.
And that's
made
right,
a
we all have to
decision.
get on that like minded this thing.
And I don't wanna be a part of seeing seniors carried out of here.
I mean, it's
because
not
this
gonna be
board
carried
is
out.
Confused.
First of all, they will still be there. Who you calling confused?
This board,
Okay.
I didn't stutter.
Y'all confused.
Okay, all right.
I got a question. I don't know, Stan Irvin or the administration, do we have a month-to-month contract with Angelique to roll over in 9 days, or, I mean, what's gonna happen in 9 days?
I have not been directed to ask them for a contract of any type. I would be happy to go and ask. I've been in conversation with them, when Mr. Brown was there. Mr. Brown, Trustee Brown did ask them if they would please submit something in writing. I suggested that they submit something, if they're going to submit anything, by today. As of the beginning of this board meeting, still have not received any. If you want me to reach out to them and ask them what their requirements would be, I will be happy to do that.
I think you should.
I think so too.
I mean, what's your other option?
There is no other.
There is
Oh, okay, so I think,
You gotta stay
I don't know.
I don't want to overstep somebody's bounds, that's all I've been looking for. Go in and ask for something and then be told that I shouldn't have done. So if the board wants me to go with it.
Yeah.
I mean.
That was already through, he was our, said.
Well, yeah, I think, well, I can speak for my, I don't know if you, I think you really should look into them doing a month to month, because it's in 7 days, I don't think
Not
we're
to
gonna,
exceed 30 days.
No.
I mean, I don't think we're gonna be having an iron-clad contract with GEG in 7 days with both attorneys looking over it, so I think we do need to do, that's my opinion, I mean, I I guess you can go
Not to
receive.
exceed 30 days or 45 days, which one?
Say month to month.
No.
Well, at any rate, if it comes, let's be very honest with it, if this board cannot come to the decision how they wanna go forward, and have this Dorchester operated by, April 30th, I will make the decision, because I am not gonna put these seniors at risk. I'm not gonna put this village at risk to get sued. So if this board cannot come to a consensus, on May 1st, we're gonna have something in place to make sure that Dorchester operates. So anything else in regards to this matter? Let's move
Speaking, you
on.
go, Trustee Bendel, are you okay with Angelique? In 7 days, are you okay with them doing an
They
additional
have a
month?
license that is with the state of Illinois. This group does not have a license with the state of Illinois, and if we don't have somebody that's licensed,
I guess Trustee
they
Bendel.
applied, they didn't
Yes
get
or
it
no, are you
yet.
okay with Angelique's name for an additional month while we iron out some of these,
We
Sabrina?
have
They
to
need
keep
to
this,
stay.
somebody has to take care of the
So
seniors.
that's one yes.
Yes,
Mr.
they need to
Sanchez,
stay.
And Sabrina,
Yeah.
Trustee Smith, you say yes, right? At least another 30 days?
30,
Yeah, I'm okay. And are you okay with them?
just 30 while we
Okay,
do
let's-
the transaction.
Trustee
You
Henry,
got your vote.
trustee, you said.
Oh,
She
so
said no.
I guess that's
No.
you.
Okay.
I will,
All right, we got the consensus, we'll put it
I
on
know.
the
reach
agenda.
out to them tomorrow morning on the way into work to set up a meeting, asking them to go on a month-to-month basis.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Irving. Let's go to the next item.
Item number 4 on the active agenda of the COW is the hiring of a part-time person in the Clerk Administrative Services Department. This is for discussion. This is being presented by Ms. Miller, myself, and Ms. Williamson. It is under the recommendation of Ms. Miller. We are no longer accepting any dollars and cents over in the police departments or in the fire departments as of today. The reason that she made the recommendation is when she was doing a survey of all of the departments, and in particular departments that took cash, it was duly noted that there was no accounting software in either one of those departments to manage dollars and cents correctly, properly. The policies were never put into place. For an example, on Saturday, the clerk's department downstairs received in excess of about $5,000 from the police department. That was not for 1 day's take, that was not for 2 days take, it was for 4 days. And there was no reconciliation as to so much was for tickets, so much was for towing, so much was for this. We have been working, or I should say more correctly, is that Ms. Miller has been working directly with Ms. Williamson and the IT people to get those accounts set up on the computer here. Now downstairs here, when someone comes in to pay a ticket, we can actually view the entire history of the police department's tickets to see if there's more outstanding tickets. More importantly, when somebody comes in to pay a fine for a police infraction right now, we can look up instantly whether they owe for a water bill, whether they owe for an infraction in our housing department, whether they owe for anything, where the police didn't have that on their computer. So staff is asking for an additional person at a part-time wage, which is clearly noted here at $10 an hour, which would be a $16,640 annual cost. I might add that since the middle of February, actually closer to the end of February till today's date, the water department, because we have now, with the help of Casperic's people and Unique, Ms. Miller, excuse me, Janice upstairs, we have segregated the accounts. The account as of today, and I might be off by a few $100s, but the water fund account has $1,400,000+.
And why don't you go into detail why we're segregating those accounts, and really, we shouldn't commingle that money into the general fund and use it for other things.
The water fund specifically in a fund balance accounting system, and please, you're professional, I'm not. Those monies should only be used for water-related projects. Water underground, meaning pipe replacement, fixing water main breaks, anything to do with and/or the water pumping of the water station. Now, some of, for example, Mr. Matt Stacy's salary could be put into that fund because of the fact that he does manage the water system. Some of my salaries could be put into that. But you cannot take that money to pay for a fireman or a policeman or an
Light
engineer.
bill or phone bill.
Right. Well, maybe an engineer, yeah, if you're working on water and that's. This, I believe, would be more than cost neutral in the fact that downstairs right now, as it's pointed out, we have 2 full-time positions. This would increase it to 3 part-time positions. Ms. Williamson, when I got here, was lax in her duties, only because no one ever gave her duties. As I reported that the police department didn't bring monies over daily, they didn't report the money upstairs daily either. So that when I got here, the finance director at that time, I went upstairs and said, what did we take in last week in downstairs in water? I don't know. You're the finance director, why don't you know? Well, they don't give me a report until they feel like it. Reports now are being generated from downstairs to upstairs every day of the week, including Saturdays. And it's not just a report that we took in XYZ, it's a report that we took in so much for water, so much for P tickets, so much for sewer, so much for this, everything is being accounted for. So this would also give Ms. Williamson the opportunity to work more closely with the finance department as part of the management team. So staff is asking that you approve us to go out and solicit through posting for a part-time position at $10 an hour.
I got, just a general comment about these part-time employees we hiring. There's been some changes with Obamacare and Affordable Care Act, as they call it. If they work over 25 hours a week, we actually have to do health care benefits or we get penalized. And you can maybe talk to Vista or
We have been
whoever.
talking to Vista, those things, as Mr. Smallwood and I've had conversation also said, it's changing daily. It is. And so far, they're telling me that we can go up to 32 hours a week. The 25 has not been ratified yet, but if it does come, then we have to cut down those people to 25.
Yeah, now it's my, interpretation from what I've been told is that it has to average to no more than 25 hours a week. So, and not over 1,000 hours for the year, to also make them eligible for retirement. So we can actually work, we can't work them a full 40, but we can work them 30 hours a year, as long as we don't go over 1,000 and it averages at 25.
And long-term, you know, as we get more organized, more professional, and that we can supply more data to the board so they can make better decisions. Some of these people, as we've noted in the last hire, it was a 90-day probationary period. This would also be a 90-day probationary period. We need to look to the future also of the fire department's going to be doing more collections in the very near future. They've been working on that for months. It's getting closer and closer where we'll be getting to handle Medicare billing, Medicaid billing through this department. It needs to be, and I wish that our auditors and accountants were still here, it needs to be centralized. We
Yeah.
can't have dollars and cents.
Yeah, and there's another thing, like the city of Chicago, what they do is, if you owe outstanding bills to any other department and you want to renew your business license, it doesn't get renewed until those outstanding fines are paid. And that's another way for us to collect our money that's due us on tickets, licensing, permits, and things like that. So tying that into this one system, as you said, you could look into the fact that if they owe us a water bill, whatever, and we have a number of outstanding water bills.
So I have a question. So I'll make sure I got this right. You guys want to hire another person downstairs in the water department for the purpose of collecting money?
Working the front counter, getting, processing dollars and cents.
Okay. The only reason why I'm against hiring another person downstairs is because normally when you put more tasks in a business environment, they take on responsibility. You multitask, you give somebody more work to do. I don't see why we hire another person at this moment.
The staff downstairs is already overtaxed. I mean, they wouldn't, this person that's being hired wouldn't be specifically to do water stuff. It's in regards to
Right.
data entry for the collection of the money.
Right, but that's not like 24/7, they're not gonna just sit there and just collect ticket monies all
It-
day. They might get it an hour here, then 2 hours
I don't know if
pass,
you've ever
they get
seen,
another
I don't
person.
know if you've been in here and seen these lines standing
Yes, I
outside the door.
have, that's for water.
Okay.
We talking about tickets, we
Okay.
talking about police department.
So now they're already overtasked by collecting water bills, water receipts. Now, what about in regards to them collecting the other fees, the tickets, the towing, and the data entry? I mean,
I don't
you have to
agree
have,
with hiring somebody right now. If anything, I would suggest that you guys put that in the budget. Budget coming up, I would have preferred you guys to go that route instead of just coming in here saying, hire another person. I think we should budget for it.
Yeah, I think we do need to look at the overall picture of where we at. That's where if you're in the budget process right now, if you think you need a part-time clerk, you know what, I need a part-time clerk for this position. I mean, budget starts May 1st. I mean, I would say just now that I see a whole boom, 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 you know, we in the budget process right now. Put in a part-time clerk in the budget process, and then we just.
and then take another 3 months to get them approved? I mean, we need to get the job done. We're 8 days
I
away
don't
from
know.
May.
I'm not quite sure how they was doing it for the last 5 to 10 years, but I think you guys can probably do it the same way you've been doing it before making all these changes. Keep doing it the way they've been doing it for the last 5 years. We in the budget process, put the part-time clerk inside the budget.
Look how long it took you to approve the last budget.
We
So
have,
now-
that's kind of funny, because you have to approve it on time, so you want to be able to do the tax levy.
Just look at your short history here. Look how long it takes you to do anything on this board.
No, we approve the budget, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, that's not a
Give out
good
hope.
leadership.
May I be
The
recognized?
budget-
You gotta be a leader.
We
May I be
approve the budget.
recognized?
When you
May I
have,
be recognized?
hang on a minute. When you have, and this is nothing but a small business. Nothing but a small business.
Exactly.
If you have too many people that you have running your business, it doesn't make it profitable for you. It's just like not having enough people and be able to run your operation.
And
Go
then
through a
most
drive,
businesses,
go through a drive-through.
they
and you s-
overloaded, understaffed.
Go through a drive-through and you sit there 20 minutes. You say, I'm not coming back here. You take me 20 minutes to get a hamburger? Do you know how those people feel paying their water bills when they stand in line all the way around the corner?
And most businesses delegate. Simple as that. That's how.
How do you delegate if you don't have the manpower?
You have people downstairs who wait in line like everybody else.
Wow.
That's not efficient.
That's not
It's
right.
not
I
efficient
think
government.
you should
It's
budget
not,
for it.
it's
I
not
think you should
efficient
budget for it.
government.
I don't wanna just hire a
It's
person.
not efficient government.
You got
So
one
you
month,
budget
there's
for it.
around the corner.
So you budget for it May 1st, and it takes you to July. When did we put the budget in place last year?
You weren't even here last year. You didn't show up for the budget.
It doesn't matter whether I
You
showed
did show
up or
up,
not.
but you
When did
listened
you
to the
approve the
board, but you
budget?
didn't come. Did
When
you
did
show
you
up?
approve it?
Did you show
When
up?
did you approve it?
When did you show up for
If
it?
I showed up,
You did. You should've came.
if I showed
Okay.
up, you'd be saying the same thing you said tonight.
No, I won't.
The same
The
thing.
budget is up for May. So when May get here, we'll take care of it.
My only thing is, we got a village administrator, we put him in place to make decisions, he's trying to make changes for the village, and then we wanna take and tie his hands and sit back and ask him what happened, why you didn't make the
How you
changes,
think
why we
progress
didn't do
is
what
done?
we need to do. He is who we hired to make decisions for us, and now he puts a recommendation out there, and we're gonna tie his hands,
I'm
not
not
give him
saying
what
more
we
than,
need.
I made my point. My vote is no.
Well, my vote is
Shirley,
yes.
I
May
also want you to look
may
into,
I please speak?
at my current job, we've been working a lot with our healthcare providers. They told us 25 hours max. I would definitely think you should look into it, because they're not telling us there's no in between. They're saying at max, I know at the college, they do 20 hours max. Place I work at, they do 25 max. And I just want you to really look into that, because with business I'm working with, just talk to business about it. That's even with the part-time, everybody. So we get film myself.
You know,
To be fair with the individual that we may be looking at bringing on, we're just, days away from, the end of the month. And let's just put it in the budget, because it wouldn't be fair to the individual to bring them on now, we look at the budget, and we can't afford it. You know, that's just being fair to the individual.
May I please speak?
go ahead, trustee Mendel.
Okay, we've moved Miss Phillips to the third floor, or the second floor, whatever you want to call it, so she's no longer downstairs. They're short a person downstairs. We've moved the police department tickets from the police department to out here. We've now got the village sticker going on sale in June. We've got other things that's being charged, which is your water and your, all the things that we have coming in with the regular police tickets and other things that's going on out here.
And we're collecting more money now in water than we've ever had before. I mean, the people are fearing the fact that their water's gonna get cut off if they don't make payment, so they're coming in and paying their bills. And you have to have somebody to service them.
And all we gotta do is look at the budget. If we're not over budget, I don't understand the problem.
Well,
If
that's what we
we're
did
not
last
over
year.
budget,
We
then what's
hired
the
and then we
problem?
looked at the budget and we saw we couldn't afford them, so then we
Seriously,
had.
we haven't had financial statements in the last 4
So
months.
then, what's going in the budget we're gonna
You
do
wanna hire
now?
somebody?
You're only talking about
Next
days
month.
away.
We haven't had
I'm
financial.
saying, what's the difference?
Oh, hey, okay, all right, we get nowhere on this. We go nowhere. Let's get a consensus, let's get a consensus. Trustee Bendel,
Yes.
Pearson,
Yes.
Smith, huh?
No.
Brown,
We need to table that for further discussion.
so let's know right now. And, okay,
So then put it
all right,
on.
fine, they don't want to do it. Okay, let's go to the next one.
Next one is of a similar topic. Mr. Thigpen has been with the organization for a number of years.
I'm sorry. I honestly expect us to make any type of financial decision without giving us any financial statements for the last 4 months. And I honestly want you to just answer that question before you start.
I'm going to. I gave you an analysis in here where this is a cost neutral hire. It's in the first paragraph of the synopsis sheet. It shows that if these officers each write 5 tickets a day, it is cost neutral.
So can we put that in the contract, they have to do 5 tickets a day?
No, you can't give them a
Can't
quote.
even
You
do that.
can't give them a quote.
I don't know, I have to ask these questions. I mean, I'm not a police officer.
You can't tell me as a police officer. You don't want to, as a matter of fact, hold on. Matter of fact, you don't want to put in a contract for them to write 5 tickets a day, because that's what they'll do, they won't get anything else. So,
I think if most of you have ridden around this town much more than I have. Unfortunately, I haven't had the time to get out and about, but when I do, I am appalled at the condition of certain areas of the town.
as we had one citizen come up today and say, I'm calling our community service officer, Thigpen, several times a week, go over here, write a ticket, go over here, write a ticket, go over here, write a ticket, knock on those people's doors. I mean, he's overtasked in what he does. And believe you me, I mean, in regards to the number of tickets, I think we wrote 1,300 tickets in eight months, which has brought in considerable amount of revenue, which was not anticipated in the budget. These code enforcement officers, if you go to every other village, they write tickets and they pay for themselves. They pay for themselves.
And I drove through
Okay,
all the communities.
yeah, hang on a minute. Just, it wasn't even presented before you said it. Why don't you present it?
No, it was just that Mr. Thigpen and I have had several conversations because the few times I do get out and I rode with Mr. Thigpen personally, I'm like, well, what about the ticket here? What about a ticket here? What about it, just in riding around 45 minutes to an hour, you could identify between 50 and 100 tickets easily, every day of the week.
And the police officers are writing tickets in regards to some code violations. So, I'm sorry.
Mr. Thigpen's background, it states in there that he has several duties. They are described by ordinance. I think they're all important duties. There are no other employees that write code enforcement tickets other than Mr. Thigpen right now.
The police officers write a few, but not.
Don't feel like, but that's not their, they're not against the budget.
Right.
We get anonymous calls in the office, and I call Brian.
All I'm saying is,
Our analysis is.
I've been driving around through all the communities, and Dolton is the nastiest by far. It's got more garbage everywhere. Oh, yeah. I'm not putting it down, but it is what it is. Look, I'm talking. Dolton has garbage everywhere, and we don't have code enforcement officers. I'm not putting Dolton down. I've been living in Dolton 29 years, and I love living in Dolton. But we need code enforcement officers to make people take care of their property, both stores and homes. A lot of people have the wherewithal to take care of the property, but they just don't. And if you don't get code enforcement in place, I mean, to me, it would be an injustice not to give these residents what they have coming.
Can Mr. Thickpen
They
speak?
deserve a clean community. They deserve not to live next door to somebody with
He's not on the agenda.
weeds.
He put the thing on the agenda.
Let him speak.
And I think we let you speak when you talk. Let trustee Pearson
I'm saying
finish. He's gonna speak. He's gonna
speak.
He's
We need
he's
to
going
hear him.
to speak. Hang on.
Like my name ain't on there. My name is on there.
What he's been
Okay.
saying, let us hear him.
Trustee,
I think he has
Trustee
something
Brown.
No, I
to
think
say.
you got a
Trustee
problem.
Brown.
I think he has something good to
Trustee
say.
Brown. He's gonna get a chance to speak. Can Trustee Pearson finish? He was recognized on the
I think that was a little ignorant to interrupt me, but,
Yeah, well, you know, it could be
Okay,
that because all
okay,
you've been
all
talking
right.
about is putting down
Okay,
Dolton, and
okay.
Dolton's not.
no, what I'm talking
All
about
right,
is
all
people,
right, all right.
people that don't know how to pass a vote that's benefiting these residents. What you're saying, it's an injustice to these residents not to hire code
I'm saying
enforcement
is you need to
officers.
speak.
All right,
And leave it the way it is.
Hey,
I'm saying you need
he
to
has the
speak.
floor, Trustee Brown.
Let's leave it,
Okay.
it sounds like you're saying, let's leave it like it is. Let's leave the trash, let's leave the rundown houses, let's leave the property the way it is, let's leave the stores that don't clean up in the front and clean up in the back because we ain't got no money and we can't afford it. And while people are leaving this community in droves, they're leaving for a reason. They're tired of living like this. They want it to be clean, they want it to be people. I mean, how many people come up here and talk about my neighbor got weeds this tall and you can't get out? I couldn't get out most of the alleys. I tried to drive down every alley over the last few days. And most of them you can't get down because people don't think that they have to cut the bushes in their yard that stick out into the alley. So when you go down it scratch your cars up. It's bags and bags of garbage all over the place because there's no code enforcement. You go to some of the stores and there's stuff in the front, there's stuff in the back. You got people parked on the sidewalk in the front of the stores. You need code enforcement, and if we don't do it, give these people code enforcement, we're doing injustice to the residents of this community.
Okay, but we never said we didn't want it.
Right.
We just need to hear what he has to say.
Okay, he's gonna get his
Okay, let
chance.
him speak.
He's gonna get his chance.
Let him speak.
I don't think Mr. Urban.
He was done.
I would just ask you to bear with Mr. Thigpen's voice. He has a case of what I'll say laryngitis, and he needs to baby his voice, for lack of better words. But Mr. Thigpen and I have had conversations many times about code enforcement. I am truly impressed at his knowledge. I think he can help orchestrate. I have been able to teach him things about what he should do. His time should be managed. It's not just write a ticket, write a ticket, write a ticket. It's write a ticket, follow up. Did you see? Did they improve it? Did they not? If not, talk to them. If they didn't do it after you talked to them, write another ticket. He needs to spend at least half to 3/4 of a day in the office reviewing all the tickets that he wrote. To just throw all these tickets against the wall is not the answer. We're not here to harass. We're not here to make money off of this. We're here to make it an attractive community to live in. That's what code enforcement should be about. It's not here to bang people with, you got a ticket, you got a ticket. We even talked briefly about people leave their garbage cans out after the days that they're supposed to be brought in. They shouldn't get a ticket the first time. The code enforcement officer should take the time, wheel it back, knock on the door. If nobody's home, there should be a note. Please make sure your garbage can is brought back in on such and such a day. They continue to do it, he's gotta have what's called a tickler file. Go back to that house on a regular basis, talk to him.
But you can't do that with one person.
That's what I'm getting at. He has other duties, and the town has got 75 miles worth of roads.
And one thing that
One person.
I just recently read that those towns that have strict code enforcement have been able to occupy their houses, that they don't, people don't move out as regular, people move in because they have strict code enforcement. They make people maintain their property. It becomes an attractive community for people to live in and also be able to sell your house if you want to sell your house, or for people to purchase homes that want to move into the community. All right, Mr. Thigpen, what do you got?
Also, one major benefit of code enforcement besides, this proposal being, cost neutral to the village, the code enforcement officers will pretty much subsidize themselves, plus, we're not here to make revenue, we just want the town to be a little cleaner, but what that also frees up, it's time to go after, I guess you could call them slumlords. We have a big problem within the village, they just rent out to people who just destroy the neighborhood, bring in all types of, bad elements and stuff. This is one thing that would all help free up some time to do that, research the landlords, and not just, housing code enforcement, but buildings. I know I sent out a couple emails today to the administrator as well as, Public Works and Ms. Fields here about some of the houses that we have that are collapsing, and we just don't have, I just don't have the time to sit down and actually research. You know, they are public safety and health hazards out here. And with that, I will.
And we've been able to force landlords to provide, containers for going on Jeffrey over there, to provide,
Exactly.
garbage dumpsters where they didn't provide, and they're required to provide it.
And multiple pickups a week.
Right, and it makes it attractive. We've got a serious situation over at 145th and Cottage, that we're addressing now in regards to the landlords and adequate, dumpsters for garbage and cleanup over there. So,
52nd and Chicago Road in Beachview with the ravine and the landlords not
Right.
having adequate pickup times.
behind your apartment building, trustee Hunt, we're addressing that issue. You know, it's a serious issue over there. So in some cases, you have to force the landlords to do what they're required to do, because they'll force you if you don't pay the rent. So,
Question, do we still have ESDA?
we still have ESDA, but
Do we have any people, let me not say that, because there's a difference between having it and actually having people working it. Do we have people working in our ESDA department?
Currently, yes and no. We haven't had any call outs really for the village of Dolton, but ESDA is part of SMART, the Suburban Mutual Aid Response Team, where we have responded in the past 3 months, all the way out to New Lenox. We had a 4-year-old boy go missing at 7 o'clock at night. We were dispatched out there for about 4.5 hours. And we did recover the child. But New Lenox, Midlothian Festival, we have been active.
But we don't have our own anymore. Like-
Yes, we do.
We do. We just in, trying to get a rebuild phase. That's something
How
that I
many do we
have.
have now?
we don't know. I'll be quite frank with you.
It's very sporadic.
It's sporadic. There's a lot of identifications out there we're gonna try to recover. And I'm in the process now of putting a plan together to revitalize ESDA so we can get aid when we need aid, and they can get, other communities can get aid when they need aid. So it's a delicate situation because we're placed in liability state when you have members of ESDA using their own cars and going through intersections and responding to different situations. But
I was
to our
asking-
benefit is that we have not needed, as of like we've needed it before in the past in regards to nightclubs and enforcement, stuff like that. The clubs are doing a better job in keeping, certain situations down. The police department is doing a better job. So we've actually reduced our costs in regards to what they had before as bar cars, and they call out ESDA to control some of those crowd control situations. So
I was asking in reference to cross-training. That's why I was asking about ESDA, and their duties, if their duties, could they be trained to do this as well?
well,
Cutting down costs.
as far as code enforcement,
I mean, because if they have to learn their duties,
well, I think you put them, you jeopardize, you put them in a different situation with the enforcement. Sometimes during these enforcement encounters, the people that are ticketed get offensive, they get rowdy, we have to call the police for assistance
Yeah, they do.
even. So,
okay.
so, we're talking about possibly putting these code enforcement officers would have to go through certain training to actually, I would suggest, be able to defend themselves in some cases, because they,
Okay, so,
Yeah, that would be completely in-house. We have certified trainers within the police department.
yeah. So, Mr. Thickman doesn't count it too much, he's pretty big, to be able to handle himself and get his point across. But that's some of the things that, I'm quite sure you've seen the parking wars and all the meter maids and stuff like that on TV, how they get, they're code enforcement officers, so they get confronted from time to time and get assaulted in some cases. Trustee Brown, go ahead.
Yeah, I'd like to speak on that, because I have been, had the opportunity to work with Mr. Thickpen as well as Mr. Stacy. I'm in support of that, because I have made a couple of calls when you guys came right out there, and it did help. In a lot of neighborhoods, where there was a lot of debris out in the alley, and definitely, the alley been bad, always been bad, but that's only because there's a lot of trees, but with a lot of people throwing mattresses out there and dresses and chairs, that is a necessary thing to be done. My big push, trustee, was to hear from Mr. Thickpen, because he's actually out there, and I'm out there with him, as well as Matt Stacy. He can settle. Nowhere in the world we were against that, but you started off talking about how bad Dolton was. It's not that bad. So I didn't want to throw nothing negative out there. Dolton, it's a lot of clean area in Dolton, a lot of clean area. So the whole Dolton's not bad, but I do support that. And how many zones do we have on